So there's also that practical challenge of balancing efficiency with quality. You're kind of hinting on that a little bit. So how can educators and designers balance the efficiency of AI generated content with that need for accuracy, originality, inclusivity, and even human review as well along the way?
No, and this is I really like this question, and I had to put some additional thought into it because I have my own internal process, but I never like sat down and said, "Hey, this is how I think I would want somebody to approach this." So I'm gonna kind of talk to this from my own process, the way I do this. And what I would say is that one of the things that these can do is you can generate first drafts very quickly, right? So that's an advantage, right? It helps you build out those pieces, but as you mentioned, there's a bunch of things you would need to do to make sure that that's good, right? It's accurate, all these other pieces in there. So I almost think of this as almost like risk levels. So what am I doing with the tool? If it's low risk, I might have a little less of a review process because if I have a full review process, I'm not really gaining much in the efficiency, right? I'm using the same amount of time to get this about the same product. If I was getting a much better product, then maybe I would give up quality for time, right? But having that kind of cost benefit analysis, right? As you're thinking about it, if it's a little higher risk, I definitely want to have like a no kidding, like full, make sure I'm double checking all that good stuff and doing all this. But if it's pretty low risk, maybe I just have some. And what does it mean to be low risk or medium risk or high risk? It's just going to take experience. Honestly, I think I was racking my brains like, how do I explain that? How do I explain that explicitly to someone? And I think it comes down to their context, their knowledge and comfort level with the content they're working with, right? So I mean, there's just a bunch of things I think they're working in. So like something that to me would be low risk is maybe I have some content that I'm pretty familiar with, and I have it generate 10 multiple choice questions with the answers. That's pretty low risk. I'm still going to review it anyways, right? But I might not do a full piece where maybe I'm going to have some content that I want it to help generate the text for a student facing document or aspect, and it's content I'm not as familiar with. That's a little higher risk. So I'm going to make sure I do the full review process. And again, I still may save time there because it would take me a long time probably to do that with content I'm not familiar with, or I would need to work with a SME that, there's coordination time, all that type of stuff. One of the things I think of when we talk about working with subject matter experts in this is, could I get the content close? So then I'm having a subject matter expert review it. So now I've kind of sped that process up a little bit and I still have the human review process. So I'm actually gaining some efficiencies there. So with all that said is I think we have to really think about our context, the risk level and what we're working with and where we're going and what we're doing and do that assessment to ensure we get efficiencies. Because if I have a simple task and I do it and then I do a full review on it and I'm digging into it, I probably didn't save any time. Actually, it's probably taking me longer. Same with if I get into that chain of thought prompting trap, right? You put something in there and you go into like, that's not exactly what I want. Okay. You give it something else. Then it says, oh, well, I want to adjust this. And you do that again. And then before you know it, it's 60 minutes later and you're still not to a product you like, right?
Right.
You didn't really save time by using that tool when you could have just done it the normal way, non AI, and probably been done in 30 minutes. Right. So
Right.
it's coming to understand what you can accomplish, and the quality of the outcome, and then the risk and working through that to know where those efficiencies you can gain. And unfortunately, my answer is it depends. You kind of have to know and just work through your processes to know your processes and know what you're working on and make those decisions. But
Right.
absolutely, I would never say just create something, copy and paste it, and put it into a product. To me, that's just no, right? There's got to be
Mhm.
some level of review on it, but that might be less if it's a low risk type environment.
Right.